Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Don't Touch My Music. I am Chardonnay and I'm here with my co host, Kiana.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about record labels. For those of you who listened to our previous Monday episode where we talked about music publishing, I mentioned that I enjoyed talking about music publishing and I also enjoy talking about record labels.
Same.
Yes,
Same.
because I also had like in the back of my mind, like when I was younger, like I wanted to start like a little record label.
Me
Um,
too.
yeah, I think it's so cool. I mean, there are a lot of things that happen on the back end of
hmm
it that is not so, how you say,
Appealing.
appealing, right?
Mm.
But I think it's fun because you get to like produce music and
Mm.
build like an artist
Mm.
and like market them worldwide, internationally. Um, I think it's fun. So some of you may know what a record label is, but I'll explain anyway. In simple terms, a record label functions as a support system for recording artists and performing artists. They have multiple departments dedicated to different aspects of a musician's career. And record labels can also be seen as an investor because they invest in the careers of the artists that they sign to their label. And also everything that comes along with ensuring that the artist is successful.
hmm now we can go into what record labels do. Like, what role do they play in artists' careers? And as we said beforehand, or as Chardonnay said beforehand, um, there are specific departments within a record label that are dedicated to specific aspects of a musician's career, or in building a musician's career, in everything that comes afterwards. It's
Yeah.
just, there's a lot of things going on in there.
No, for
and
real.
we're going to go over the four main ones that pretty much do most of what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Um, Having said that, the first one is A&R, which stands for Artist and Repertoire, which is sounds fancy. It
Yeah.
sounds fancy as fuck when you say it that way.
Yeah.
Um, but they're basically referred to as the gatekeepers of the music industry
Yeah.
because without them, they're like there wouldn't be much going on inside a record label because there would be no artists there.
True. True.
um, so their main job is to discover new acts that record labels might want to sign.
Yeah.
There's a collective term for that, and it's called scouting. So traditionally, they used to actually travel a lot from city to city within whatever country the record label is primarily located in,
Yeah.
attend live shows at nightclubs or bars to try and find new talents for the record label to potentially sign. However, nowadays it's more common that they scour the internet. So they're on TikTok,
Yeah.
they're on Instagram, trying to
Things
scout.
has changed.
Yeah, trying to
Change
scout
has.
from there, especially with the pandemic, because
Oh
live
yeah.
shows were not a thing for a couple of years, basically.
Yeah.
Um, so it was really the online platforms that allowed for a lot of labels to discover new talent. And then typically, once artists get signed, the A&R department or A&R reps will develop a close relationship with that artist because it's one of the
Yeah.
few ways that they're able to ensure that whatever vision the
The
artist
label
had
has.
for themselves as well as what
Mm-hmm.
the label
Has it
has,
right.
that both things are being met. And they also serve as a means of communication between the artist and the label.
Mm-hmm.
And they also help find the right people, the right team for
Yes.
the artist. So the right producers, the right sound engineers, the right designers,
Songwriters as
the
well.
right songwriter, the right everybody that's going to be on
Yeah.
that person's team. A&R helps them find that people, those people, helps them find those people, because within the record label, other than probably like their own manager, um, within the record label, the A&R department is the one that's going to cultivate the closest relationship.
And then apart from A&R, what they do as well is marketing and promotion. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's exactly what it sounds like, marketing the artist and promoting the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the main things that record labels do, because this is one of the main ways that they make their money. Because like I said earlier, they are seen as an investor because they invest their monies into the career of the artist and ensuring that the artist is successful. And they do this by marketing them on a
Mm-hmm.
massive scale in
Yeah.
order to get their ROI, so their return on investment. The marketing department basically provides like I said, the artists with global exposure. Record labels also use their large network and any connections that they may have to kind of broadcast their artist to the media. So, online or even on television, have them on radio, and even find PR opportunities for them, and also
Mm-hmm.
like assist with publishing. So, mainly they help plan, well, not help, they plan
Yeah.
and execute marketing campaigns in order to build the artist and get them maximum exposure. Another
Mm-hmm.
thing that they do is help with branding. So they assist with building the artist's image, so curating their sound, their look. Another thing that they do as well is like media training. So having the artists portray themselves in a certain way that kind of aligns with their music and the image that they are building for them. And lastly, what they do is they get their artists onto the most influential playlists on global streaming platforms and radio stations. When you see the artists on like the top hits on Spotify and like these iconic, I would say, like playlists, because it's like the songs are in there, like the songs
Yeah.
to listen to are in those playlists.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do. They help get their artists on those things to get them maximum exposure. A lot of persons refer to record labels as marketing companies because, like I said earlier, they really market their artists massively, like heavily, to
Mm.
like get them out there to make their money back, because it's essentially the money that they spend is what they want back, because they spend a lot
Yeah.
of money into
The
in like,
advances
yeah,
are
like
very
investing into the
large.
artists. Yeah, it's a lot.
So another thing that record labels do for the musicians that they sign is that they offer specialist support. So the specialist support department um, deals with most things that have to do with administration, legal matters, partnerships, and royalties. Because we talked about publishing last on the last Monday episode. So things like tracking, collecting, and distributing royalties would be happening in the specialist support department. And then,
Yeah.
of course, lawsuits, contracts, all of that complicated as lots of paperwork type of
Hmm.
stuff goes on over there.
Another thing that record labels do is distribution. This department is responsible for getting the artist's music into stores physically and digitally, and also on streaming platforms for public consumption and to purchase. Traditionally, major labels handled distribution themselves, but now in more modern times, than I
Current.
would say,
Yeah.
yeah, current times, um, record labels usually sign contracts with distribution companies and have them take over all the distribution on their behalf. This is what we see today. And I think it would be a lot easier to do it that way. And it takes less stress, I would say, of the label in terms of like trying to
Yeah.
get it all out there. Like,
Yeah. I would say that the like big three major labels
yeah.
definitely still do their own distribution.
Yes, the big tree. Yes.
Like that's why there are platforms like CD Baby and whatnot.
Yes, exactly.
They specialize in that. They do that. So
Yeah. And I
the only
think
thing is
it's
that it's
that.
going to cost them.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think it's much easier for, well, then the sub labels and also independent labels to do that, because it takes a lot of stress and work
Yeah.
off of their plate. Because remember,
Yeah.
they don't have much resources as well.
Having said that, let's get into major labels versus independent labels and what that means,
Yeah.
because I know that both words get thrown around a lot, like the way we were just
Ooh.
throwing them around.
Mm.
Um, but we'll explain what the difference is between the two. So major labels, there are actually only three that are considered major labels by definition. And those three are Sony BMG, Universal Music Group, and Warner Music Group, which are, you see them fucking everywhere.
Everywhere,
They're doing all the
literally.
things. And why those three specifically are referred to as major labels or the big three is because they are multinational companies, so they're
Yep.
global.
Yep.
Um, they have headquarters in many, many countries.
Mm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and then they also hold more than 5% of the global market. So those are the two biggest characteristics that make them qualify as
Yeah.
major labels. But then on top of that, they also have their own distribution networks, as we were just saying. They also have their own sub labels that promote, record, and sign like artists that focus on specific genres.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like other smaller things, but that are still part of the big picture, is the fact that they basically have an endless amount of money.
Oh,
that
yes.
financial that 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 financial situation is very nice, very good for them.
Very. Oh.
Yeah, and they are also, of course, very well established.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows who they are. They have all the connections everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're in all the businesses.
Yeah.
They do all
Yeah.
the things. And the one thing that like kind of is like the downside of major labels and signing with major labels is that they can be very limiting, or
Controlling.
yeah, exactly, limiting, controlling,
I said, let me
constricting.
just.
Yeah, when it
Yeah.
comes to artists, like contractually and also
Yeah.
creatively, there
Mm-hmm.
is gonna be rules that you're gonna have to follow. There's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
things that they're gonna require of you. Those contracts these days are looking real bleak, looking real sad, real bleak. um, and that's why you find more and more musicians signing with independent labels instead. So
Yeah.
Chardonnay, take it away with
Yeah.
the
I'm gonna tell
independent.
you guys what is an independent label. There are many, many, many
Mm-hmm.
independent labels.
Mm-hmm.
But the three most well known are Domino Recording Company, Glassnote Records, and Excel Records. And they are independent labels because they operate without funding from major labels and their respective organizations. Other characteristics that independent record labels has is that they are able to sign whoever they want to sign. Yeah, so unlike major labels have a certain, I mean, independent labels do have a certain thing that they
Yeah,
look
because there
for.
are niche labels that only do
Yes.
specific music.
But with the independent labels, I guess it's a bit more free in
Mm-hmm. It
terms of
is.
like who they sign, and there's not like anything specific, because I think major labels would look like for something specific, because remember,
They're
no
trying to make
trade,
money.
they're trying to make money,
Yeah.
and the independent labels are more about like creativity and like letting the
Mm-hmm.
artists express themselves or whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so they're able to sign whoever they want, and um like I just mentioned, the artist has more freedom creatively, but also contractually.
Yeah.
Um, and the deals or the recording contracts are more artist friendly and beneficial towards the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And they work together to develop a close relationship to really try to understand what the artist wants and where they're coming from to help portray that in the best way as possible through their music or through their marketing or whatever it may be. And like Kiki said, major labels has endless amount of money. Independent labels does not. They are
Yeah.
very limited um in terms of like their financial resources. Also with
Yeah.
staff as well. Um
Yes.
but
Exactly. And also, just most of their resources in general can just be quite limited, because major
yeah,
labels have all the connections for like any
no
like any
doubt.
field you want
Yeah.
to go into. They're likely to have a
Surely.
connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a independent label is gonna have to hustle to get
Yeah. They would have
that
to hustle.
opportunity
Yeah.
for their artists.
But you know, the thing is like what I love about independent labels is that they let their artists be creative and then they support their artists with that. That is one of the main things I love about independent labels.
Yeah.
What I like about major labels is that they promote their artists to the fullest potential. Like they really like go hard for the artist.
They do, but
What
they
I
have that
what
money.
yeah, what I don't like about major labels is that they control they let me see how to put this.
They're like, you know that TV show Dance Moms?
Hmm.
Major labels are like the dance moms.
No, but like yeah, I don't know how to put it, but I just don't like the fact that they try to control the artist and be like, okay, like this is what I think you should sing, this is how I think you should dress. And some might say, oh no, we're not doing that because again, like Kiki mentioned earlier, the A&R rep would be sort of that liaison between the artist and the label. But the A&R rep would also try to push the label's idea or agenda for the artist onto the artist, and sometimes the artist would have no idea. The artist would just think genuinely that the rep is, I don't know if this choice of word is correct, but is looking out for them.
Yeah.
But they're just aligning the artist with what the label wants, you know? But yeah, I mean, both has their pros and their cons, but
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
what I wanted to say is that I actually enjoy the marketing aspect of things in the music industry, and the A&R aspect, because when I was doing my internship, I actually focused mainly on marketing, like with the artist. And I slowly like kind of went into A&R because at that time, the owner of the artist management company signed like two new artists, and she was like, hey, I signed these two new artists, can you listen to their demos and tell me what you think? So I would like listen to all of their music and like give her feedback on it, and I would tell her like what I think can be improved like in their new recording sessions and what kind of direction that they should take with their music. And I would also advise her on like their image, because she would always ask me like, she would always say like they shoot like some photos, they did like a little photo shoot, what do you think of these photos, what do you think of the image, you know? And I would give her advice on that, and she would always tell me like she think that I would be fit for A&R because I do it so well and I have like such a good ear for music, and
Yeah.
I pay like attention to detail when it comes to like the artist's image. So I was like, oh, okay.
But yeah, those are like the basics of record
Yeah.
labels, what they do, who they
Mm-hmm.
are,
Mm-hmm.
um, what the differences between major labels and independent labels is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, there's always, as we say every episode, there's always much more to the picture. But
Yeah.
again, we're building a foundation here. Rome wasn't built in a day. I wanted to mention a documentary that I think is worth watching, if you're kind of interested in seeing how things can go wrong with
No, you're
record
right.
labels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that it's a documentary that's worth watching, because not only do you see a band go through a lawsuit with what used to be a major label, you also kind of see the impact of digitalization on the industry while it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
You also see a band come out of it through music, which
Mm-hmm.
is dope. It's like a full circle story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's really well done. And there's multiple people from multiple bands that get interviewed in here. And these are people that are either independent musicians now or have moved on from their major label to an independent label. The documentary is called Artifact. And it tells the story of when the band 30 Seconds to Mars realized that their contract was shit. That their contract was yucky poo poo, and they weren't making any money and were in fact just in a shit ton of debt.
Yeah.
Even though they were quite successful for a rock band at that time, and how they had to start a whole lawsuit to
Yeah.
try to resolve the situation. I know that Jared Leto is somewhat of a controversial person, um, but it's worth a watch just for the educational purpose, even if you don't like the band or
Yeah.
him.
I like that you brought up that they were in debt and they weren't making any money, because a lot of people think that when you're assigned to a label, it's
Mm-hmm.
all peaches and creams. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a bed of roses. And I mean, while it can be for some,
Yeah.
majority of the time it's not. Talking about major labels here.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, with independent, it could go south too, but you don't have so much risk involved and also so much depth involved.
Yeah, you don't have such a big advance hanging over your head
Ooh, that yeah, that mainly, because I was
because
about to say,
the major labels give you ridiculous advances.
yeah, and like a lot of people think that when you're signed to a major label, it's all peaches and cream, a bed of roses. Like I'm gonna be this famous star, which you would be if they really invest into you. But the thing is, you have just this load of debt hanging over your head, because the money that they invest into you, they want it back in return. If
Mm-hmm.
it's with um maybe, for example, with your merchandise, everything that you sell, they want a percentage of it. If it's with your sales online, your whatever, like they want the money back. Like it's not
Yeah, they
free
have to.
money.
They have
You
to
know what I mean?
recoup that shit.
Yeah,
That's
and
why 360 contracts became so popular.
mm-hmm.
So let us transition smoothly into our little small talk section where we ask each other what our favorite songs of the week are, and also we ask each other not two questions, a question.
A
Why,
question, right?
like, yeah, why is my brain so confused? Anyway, what's your
Okay.
song?
So the first song that I've been listening to this week endlessly is Caliber by
Mm-hmm.
Coco Jones. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if you do you know Coco Jones?
I know her face because I see her on social
Yes.
media all the time, but I
Yes.
do not know her music.
She's also in Bel Air, the new
Mm-hmm.
show.
Yeah,
She
that's why I
yeah,
know her
she's
face.
yeah, she's playing I believe Hillary.
She is, yeah.
Um Coco is that girl. Like she is that girl. She was on Disney Channel
Mm-hmm.
in Let It Shine, I believe it was. Um she
I'm like, did I
was
watch that?
she
I
was the
think so.
main character with the guy that used to play in Everybody Hates Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyway, Coco Jones Caliber is my jam right now. It's sort of like an slow R&B vibe. Like Coco Jones is like an R&B girl. Like
Yeah.
she is that, girl. And that's what I'm listening to right now.
Um, my song is old as fuck. My song is old as fuck because we did that the top 5 best-selling albums
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in the world. Um, it literally led me to create a whole playlist of just like old songs that make me
Yeah.
feel fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I've been listening to um, so much is "I'm Coming Out" by Diana Ross.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it's just a excellent pop song.
Yeah.
It's such a good pop song, and it makes me hype as fuck for
Mm-hmm.
absolutely no reason. It's a good ass song.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like as I said, I've been listening to it a lot, like a lot. But yeah, I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross.
So my second song that I've been listening to this week is Carry On by Patrice Roberts. Now, Patrice Roberts is a soca artist from Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm.
And she has like a lot of good music. Like like soca music in general is like feel good music.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to a song of hers called Carry On that she made a couple years ago, but it was like a hit song.
Mm-hmm.
And she also recently released a song called Mind My Business, where
Mm-hmm.
she says, I'm gonna drink water and mind my business. With that song, Drink Water and Mind My Business, Michelle Williams got on that song. She did like a little reel on Instagram with her
Okay.
drinking water and like playing the music. And then um Jada also recorded a reel where she drank her water
Minded her business.
and minded her business and played the song in the background. So that was like a great moment in Patrice's career,
Yeah,
because she
that's
got
dope.
like this like international recognition
Yeah.
with that song.
Yeah.
But the song that I was listening to, Carry On, that's like a little bit older. So yeah, Carry On by Patrice Roberts. What's your
Nice.
second song?
My second song is also not a current song,
Mhm.
but it's also not old as fuck. It's just not at all recent. It is We Cry by The Script,
I've
who,
heard of the script, but I don't
yeah,
think
it's
I've.
Irish band.
Okay.
Um, they are just so fucking good at what they do. Every single album that they've released has been dope as hell. I've seen them live twice, dope as hell.
Mm.
And We Cry is just a really good song. It's a cool ass band in my opinion.
Yeah.
They make good shit. We Cry is lyrically a very strong song and I just really like it. And I've been
Nice.
listening to the shit out of it because I
Nice.
suddenly remembered that they existed the other day.
Question time.
Question time. Do you want me to ask first or do you want to ask me
Um,
first?
yes, you can ask me first.
So we are recording this on a Saturday
Mm-hmm.
the 2nd of April to be exact. The
Mm-hmm.
Grammys are tomorrow evening
Mm-hmm.
at like
Mm-hmm.
ass o'clock for me and you.
Mm.
Is there something that you're really looking forward to for the
You
Grammys
know it. You know it.
and something that
You
you're
know
really
it.
not looking forward to for the
Oh,
Grammys?
what I'm actually looking forward to with the Grammys is seeing Spice, the queen of dancehall. That's what I'm looking for. Looking
Yes.
forward to. So for those of you who don't know who Spice is, she's a dancehall artist from Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
She is nominated for best reggae album for her album 10 that she recently dropped. And that's what I'm looking forward to. She's right now in Vegas, doing like a pre um I don't know, party, get together with her fans and a few of
Yeah.
her team members, but also she's doing like fittings and stuff like that. And she's recording it, so she's documenting it, and we can follow her journey, which I think is awesome because it's
Yeah,
so
it's so
fun.
cool. Yeah.
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 What I really don't care for is everything else. What I mean with everything else is like, okay, I will be looking forward to a few performances,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
depending on who the performers are, because I don't remember. But everything else, I don't know, because I feel like I don't know. I want it like if I'm watching the Grammys or any award show, I
Mm-hmm.
want it to feel I understand that it's a script, like a
Yeah.
production that they put together,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to be like too scripted or too put together. Like I would want it to be like a bit more genuine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you're broadcasting this to the world, like put some emotion into it.
Mm-hmm. It's an incredibly structured show.
Yeah.
So structured.
Yeah.
But
So
like I understand on one side because, it's live television, they have a time
yeah. I
slot,
definitely understand that.
whatever. But yeah, it's what you said. It feels very impersonal, I guess,
Yeah.
if that's the right word.
Yeah. That's how we feel. That's all.
Okay. So
Yeah.
just like Chardonnay said, Miss Spice is the one
Miss
of the night
Spice.
for
Miss
him.
Spice. Spice is my highlight. I mean, if Rihanna was going or Beyonce or Nicki or whatever, I mean, those would be my highlights as well.
Yeah.
Because I basically grew up with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all I've been listening to growing up.
That's why I want to see the red carpet because you never actually know who the fuck is going until you see the red carpet. Because like last
Exactly.
year, everybody was like, Beyonce is not coming, and then she showed up.
hmm
She didn't do the red carpet though. She just was inside, and people were like, "Hello,
Inside.
is that
Yeah.
Beyonce just sitting there?"
My question is to you: if you were ever offered the chance
Mm-hmm.
to be a
Mm-hmm.
songwriter
Mm-hmm.
for a K-pop group, would you take it? Knowing that you don't write songs, would
Um,
you take that opportunity to write songs for them?
no.
Because like writing songs, you don't necessarily have to know how to sing.
Yeah.
Because you could also be just a lyricist. Like you could also just write
Yeah.
the words or assist with putting the words together. Because I know, like with sentences and paragraphs and just like certain things
Mm-hmm.
with grammar, you're very good at.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that aspect, like as a lyricist, like would you?
Um, No.
Why? Why not?
I like how I take my whole microphone with me when I'm laughing. I mean, I I don't think I'm good at creative writing. I'm good at
Mm,
academic writing.
okay.
I feel like that's useless when it comes to songwriting because songwriting requires a lot of one creativity, yes, but also to be able to implement all of these like frills and stuff that make words sound pretty and
Yes.
a lot of imagery and
And it has to hit like an emotion.
metaphors
Right.
exactly and I for one am already not very good at expressing my emotions, so that's
Mm.
already like a block. And then
Hmm.
two, yeah, I'm more academically inclined when it comes to writing.
Yeah.
um and even then when I write academically it's also not the best, so
She's like,
it's like it's decent but it's not the best.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I'm not writing academically, I write the exact same way that I speak. So it's
True. That's so true.
yeah, I don't feel like I could bring anything of value into that industry. When you are writing music for foreign acts, foreign as in foreign from where you live or where you're located,
Hmm.
um, there's a certain level of care that has to be put into things, and it's just like an ability that I do not have. Not that I don't care, I care,
Yeah.
but I don't have that creative ability to be like, I should consider that this is going to be translated to a different language, so maybe I shouldn't make it so um, specific to like maybe my life's metaphors, because maybe this is only a thing that happens here in Portugal or in Europe or in Namibia or whatever, and
Right.
then like they have to find an alternative that
Hmm.
can maybe apply to them. Um, so really, I think just for the sake of making life easier for them, they should skip me. They should skip me. But
Yeah.
if they want to maybe talk about music and just like talk about shit that we like, sure.
Mm. Mm,
um,
Okay. Well,
great
that's
music.
fair. That's fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, that concludes today's episode. Keep an eye out for Thursday's episode because we'll be talking about everything that happened at the Grammys, what we liked, what we didn't
Yes.
like, um, the performances.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just gonna discuss the things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as we said, we recorded this on Saturday, so the Grammys haven't happened yet, so we can't already talk about the things.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep an eye out for Thursday. And then in terms of today's episode, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. Hop in the
As
DMs, hop
usual.
in the comments. Find us on our social media accounts, which, I'll say just now. Or you can find in the description of
Yeah.
wherever you are listening to and or watching us. But anyway, if you are on YouTube, like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications. If you are
Yes.
on Spotify or Anchor, follow the podcast, rate the podcast. You can leave comments on Anchor if
Yes.
you feel like it. Um, our social media accounts, Don't Touch My Music Pod, on both Instagram and TikTok.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, that's where you can find us. That's where you can holler at us. That's where you can let us know the things and the stuff. Yeah, see you on Thursday or whatever.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.